Welcome, welcome to the ladies' room, where real men talk and truth go boom. Good morning, good morning. If your man acting up or your woman losing she mind, right we don't hide till we inside, 'cause ladies' room go set it right. Welcome, welcome to the ladies' room, where real men talk and truth go boom. Good morning, good morning. If your man acting up or your woman losing she mind, right we don't hide till we inside, 'cause ladies' room go set it right. Welcome to the ladies' room, where real men talk and truth go boom. Good morning, good morning. If your man acting up or your woman losing she mind, right we don't hide till we inside, 'cause the ladies' room go set it right. Welcome, welcome to the ladies' room, where real men talk and truth go boom. Good morning, good morning. If your man acting up or your woman losing she mind, right we don't hide till we inside.
We're live. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to the ladies' room. It is Wednesday, February 11th. And of course, it is a pleasure to be back with you again to continue the conversation. Shante, well, tag quickly. So the time you're taking to listen and can't type, tag people quickly, because I really want you guys, just how you showed up yesterday, I want you to show up again today, how you showed up Monday. You've been showing up all week, right? And helping to fight this fight. There is strength in numbers, and nothing feels more rewarding than seeing other people supporting you and, joining the cause, because sometimes you feel like you're alone in the wilderness, and like I always say, there's strength in numbers. So when we show up, that's when we're taken seriously. Nobody takes one person seriously. Nobody. If more of us stand up, speak up, lend our voices to this cause, men as well as women, we will see quicker action being taken. But if one person is alone in the wilderness, no, it's like it's hardly even a drop in the bucket. Makes little or no difference. So collectively, we have to, and I hope that we will continue to do this. And like I said, we're not doing a one-day thing, all right? We're pushing this all week. Terry says everyone need a GoFundMe for a case of malt. Terry, you could afford to do that on your own, man. Come on. Case of malt is what, $100 and something? Anyways, guys, like I said, welcome back to the ladies' room, and the conversation continues. Thank you so much, St. Augustine Medical Services. Thank you so much, Lan. Thank you so much, Western Union and Beacon Insurance, for making the room possible yet again. And to you, the loyal listeners, thank you so very much. If you're viewing the live stream now on Facebook and YouTube, thank you so very much. If you are listening via radio 95.1, 95.3, thank you so much. Or if you're listening via the Power app, thank you as well. So we got so many different mediums for you to tune in that you should not be missing anything. Even if you're at work, you're not able to come on the live, you can listen via the Power app, and of course, lend your support. All right. Everybody wouldn't be able to speak and type, but you can lend your support by listening and spreading the word and sharing and letting people know what we are doing, what's going on. So, like I said, a lot's happening today. The folks in Barbados are currently at the polls. Yeah. General elections are currently underway in Barbados today, February 11th, and that is to elect 30 members of the House of Assembly. Parliament was dissolved on the 19th January. Of course, nomination day was the 27th January. Today is election. My favorite lady, Prime Minister Barbados, Mia Motley. Will this be a third term? And I got somebody here I need to ask the question to, because he's all about, stats and all those things. So we'll definitely bring him up. I did not say good morning to my TikTokers, right? Well, good morning to the folks on TikTok. Thank you so very much for tuning in, and welcome back again. You guys forgive me if I don't do the routine roll call, but you understand that we got to make use of every ounce of time that we have, and we really, really don't want to stick. Alrighty. So this morning, we shift the conversation. It's in the same family, but we want to take a different look at it. And time again, I've said to you guys, I've spoken about the stats. I've spoken about Grenada being very high on the list of countries where sexual offenses are committed. And sexual offenses means rape, incest, abuse, etc. And for an island that is as small as ours, it is alarming. And this isn't the first time. I've been saying this for years, because you all know how when it comes to things like this, how passionate I get. And I've been, like I said, this isn't the first time. We've been doing this for a long time. And I've gotten the stats, which shows how badly it is. And this morning, we want to be as real, and it's not to offend anybody, but like I said, if you feel offended, then you probably know why. So let me just toss that disclaimer and say we're going to be as real and open and frank as we possibly can, because I think that's the only way we get the message across. For too long, I think we dance around, we pussyfoot around the issues, and we try to massage people's feelings and protect people's. No, we are no longer protecting anybody's feelings. If you are guilty, then you should feel the way you feel, right? So we're no longer massaging nobody's egos. We're no longer trying to make people feel good or excuse. No, we're done and dusted. It is about time we get serious, because this calls for seriousness. And I put up a flyer on the screen a while ago. Let me just read it quickly before I bring up my guest. And it's to do with a national awareness march. Yeah, we're gonna march again. Or for fathers, or they march. They march for freedom. They march for all different types of changes. So yeah, we have to march again. This time, we're starting against gender-based violence. Friday, the 13th of February, from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. It will be from the gardens to the Attorney General's office. And the mission is to raise awareness on gender-based violence, demand stronger and stiffer penalties for sexual offenders in Grenada. Let me just put it up here because it's a bit smaller on that end, and y'all know my eyesight. It's not the very best. All right, yeah. So stand in solidarity with survivors and their families, call for accountability, protection, real reform. And it is Empower Her Caribbean Inc. They are the ones organizing this. right? So this Friday, the 13th, 9 a.m. to 12 noon from the Gardens to the Attorney General's office. Y'all been talking the most and saying a lot for the past couple of days. Now it's time to put it in action, right? They're calling for accountability. We're calling for protection. We're calling for real reform. And they are partnering with community groups, faith based organizations, youth advocates, civil society stakeholders, concerned citizens. And the message is enough is enough. Protect our women, protect our children. Justice must be strong, justice must be swift. And if you'd like to be a part of it, you can call them 419-3784 536 6686. All right. So the message is clear. This Friday, 9 a.m. to 12, come out. Come out in your numbers. Come out in your numbers. Come out in your numbers. All right. So just wanted to, and of course, I'll remind you again before we leave. All right, so we're getting into it this morning, guys. We are getting into it, and I'm not going to waste a minute more of your time. Let me introduce my guest this morning, Mr. Justine Pierre. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Wonderful. All righty. So, welcome to the program. Welcome to the show. Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for adding your voice to the conversation. And this morning, like I said, we want to keep it as real as possible. And I think that is the only way we would get the message across regarding the seriousness of this situation, and of course, sexual offenses generally in Grenada. But before we get to that, quickly, I just want to pick your brain. It's elections in Barbados today. What's your bet? Is it
I
Barbados?
I, I believe. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I'm Dr. Justine Pierre. I'm a researcher. I'm a researcher. Incidentally, I am also from Grenada, Grenadian, born and bred in Fontenoy, St. George's, Grenada. Went to Heinze School, GBSS, and still have strong connections in Grenada. And so we are a research firm by the name of Dunn, Pierre, Barnett and Company, Canada Limited. So we collect data on what is called the on Black Indigenous people of color, BIPOC population in the global South, and we are maybe one of the largest collector of data on quote unquote Black people. So we collect right now we have about 70 million active human subjects in the database, comprising about 40 countries. We collect mainly labor market data, migration data, data on issues, social issues like rape, violence, etc. Coming back to our election predictions, I'm certain with an 86% probability that Mia Martley would win will win the election today, for many reasons. Obviously, one of the main reasons is that she has taken the country from where it is now, where it was, to a long way. 17 consecutive quarters of economic growth. She has done well. She has brought Barbados into the public limelight. She has become one of the most dynamic political leader in the Caribbean. But what I like her about most is that her ability to make decisions with data. One of the few countries in the Caribbean, maybe the only country in the Caribbean that makes it decisions using data, using analytics, using research. Well, also Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica and Guyana and some of the other countries. However, Barbados is way above every other country in terms of its decision in using data, and we see where it is today. So, one more term for Mia Martley, the Queen of the Caribbean. And those who want to look at my Facebook, I had a write up today, and that's it. We do conduct research, especially political research. We are in the field of what is called psephology. So psephology is the scientific study of elections, the scientific study of predicting elections. And so far is a concept we got from India in 2015, and we are sort of bringing it into the Caribbean. And so far we have successfully predicted 13 out of the last 14 elections in the region, and 93% success rate, better than any other organization in their region.
I just wanted to hear that she's gonna get her again prime ministership. That's all I'm concerned. But I await the results at the end of the day.
Yes.
Anyway, so now to get to the meat of the matter, and of course, again, like I said, thank you so much for reaching out and wanting to add your voice to the conversation in light of what's transpiring now. It's been a lot going on for the past couple of days. Emotions are raw. People are really upset. People are, really clamoring for change and justice. But before we get to change and justice, there's a lot we have to look at, all the underlying factors. And I just saw someone in the comment section saying, in terms of the marching, would that stop the violence, because the law punishment comes in after the act has been committed. And sometimes I get angry when I see comments like that, because when you think back in our history, the likes of Martin Luther King, etc., we didn't have all the data, we didn't have what we have now, and they still went out and marched and formed, thousands and thousands of people followed the movement, and that is what inspired change. So it is to inspire change, and it is a call for reform. But if everybody sits back quietly, don't do anything, though something happens, we just talk about it today and we move on, lawmakers aren't thinking, okay, well, they're serious about change. So whatever is there, we're not going to make any effort to change it. It's already there. They ain't worried. They're not concerned about it. So let's just roll with the tide. So that is the reason for the marches, Alroy. There is strength in numbers. It is a call for action. It is to show that the citizenry, we are serious about wanting change, and we're not going to just sit back and say nothing, do nothing, and hope something change. It's not going to work that way. All right. So I hope that answers your question. So Justine, before we get into numbers, what did you feel when you saw the result of your surveys?
Well, in terms of election surveys?
No, in terms of the sexual offenses.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Yes, as I said, I just want to have a disclaimer. Okay, I'm a statistician. I'm a labor statistician, trained as a labor statistician, being around data pretty long time, and this is my job. So on a normal, we do our consultancy. So we are one of the suppliers of the World Bank, the UN. Whenever they have a project, we will apply as a company. So we produce about 12 proposals per month, so maybe about 120 per year. And sometimes, so we conduct studies, or maybe we have done over 370 studies in over 40 countries. And sometimes, I'm a statistician, so I just want to have a disclaimer. So a statistician is the true representative of the people. Just remember that. A statistician is the true representative of the people. And we deal with the facts. Somebody could say something, a minister could say something, a government minister could say something, anybody can say anything. But at the end of the day, we count the numbers. And that's what statistics really is. So sometimes, as a statistician, there is a quote, statisticians, they are the most hated person in any country, because we deal with the facts. We are blind. We look at the data and we interpret their data. So I'm saying that what I'm saying, as I said, I'm not saying this to put on any country or to cast dispersions on anyone.
Listen, at the end of the day, like I said, with my first disclaimer, the facts are the facts, and it is right. Anybody that feels offended, you have a right to be offended because you fall in that particular space.
So,
right? So
saying
the
all of this now
is what we want to work with, and then we can take it from there.
Right. So saying this now, so what we see, for example, I was fortunate to conduct the PAHO, the Pan American Health Organization, migration of health workers in the Caribbean. We surveyed about 32,000 human subjects. I was also fortunate to conduct the CARICOM human trafficking study, was sponsored by the European Union. We sampled about 35,000 human subjects. And then out in 2021-22, we went to Venezuela. We had a 6 months project. We examined all of the routes, the human migrant smuggling routes. Okay, and one of a company gave us 2,700 cell phones, so we could give it to the migrants, so we could see the migrants and see where they travel to. We were in this thing. So we were the one who broke the whole issue of 83 brothels in the Caribbean. So I'm just saying that, as I said, I hope that there are adults on this show. So the Caribbean, okay, so the Caribbean is one of the most dangerous places in the world for violence. We comprise about 680, 690 million people. We are 8% of the world population, but we commit 33% of all crime. Imagine that. 8% of the world's population, we commit 33% of all crime. With regard to human trafficking, but let's look at sexual violence against women. So when we
what I really want to focus on.
Right.
So
let's look at sexual. There are 32 countries in the world that have the largest percentage of the largest percentage of rape and violence against women, and 32 countries in the world, above the over 100 200 countries, and 50% of these countries are in the Caribbean. I mean, just to imagine that 50% of these countries, okay, 32 countries and 50, and we are such a small population. So I just want to say that violence against women in the Caribbean is a form of entertainment. Okay,
explain that.
It's a part of a man's administrative duty, meaning to beat a woman is okay. That's a concept. I mean, we have this concept for a very, very, very long time. So this has been perpetrated through most likely through the law, through our systems, our culture. I remember as a child, lived in Fontenoy, and we used to know when a man beating a woman, we used to go to the house and hear the woman bawl, and it's a form of entertainment. It's a form of entertainment. It is. I mean, I know it's very, as I said, it would be a little uncomfortable, but that's the fact, and this goes into every country. But let's look at
let me ask you this: in light of the recent tragedy where this young woman lost her life, how do your findings help us understand what may be happening beneath the surface in Grenada?
Right, good. So we have to understand that. So in Grenada is a special cases. So there are 6 countries in the Caribbean that commits 92% of all rape and sexual violence against women, and Grenada fits into this. But Grenada has some specific qualities. Grenada, it has the highest incidence of incest. There's something called incest in the whole OECS by far. Okay, but what makes it important? There are 7 communities in Grenada that has rates of incest almost above any kind of indicators. And I think that in our discussion earlier this week, I mentioned these places, but I mean, we don't want to say these places, because it will affect the people in the area. But there are incidents of sexual violence, father against daughters. We have instances where fathers abusing his whole family, all his children, and mothers also remain very silent about it. It is just what we call in our local language, it's like a mess, and something has we have to do something about it. We had in 2019 we had a part of the CARICOM human trafficking study. We had our pilot in Grenada. We had a forum in the Trade Center, and we were appalled to see the amount of women that came up and said, "Look what is happening." The children, I mean, how people abusing their daughters. They report it, and nothing is happening.
I can testify to that because, like I said, between when this incident occurred Friday to today, there are messages I have not even touched yet, responded to us yet, listened to yet, because the amount of people that called, women that called, and the last call I got what's the day, Wednesday? The last call I got was someone saying that her father for years has been sexually molesting her, and has even went so far as to say to her that she is his sex slave. He brought her into the world for his use.
Yes. Yes. This is, and we see this stories and stories and stories. And fortunate for us is that we have a database. Fortunate for us, people could come in and what we call an offend a victims registry. People could come and give the opinion. And one of the challenges we have, especially with Grenada, sometimes, and people come against me personally because we try to get those data. However, there are a lot of pushback. Pushback.
We live in a culture where we know things happen, but we don't speak on it. Especially
Exactly.
when it comes to sex, etc. We don't speak on it. We know it happens. We see women getting pregnant, etc. But for some reason, we don't speak on it. We don't like having conversations. It makes people uncomfortable. But like I said, now is the time for people to be uncomfortable. So my next question to you is, what percentage of respondents reported being victims, and around what age did most of these experiences begin?
Right. Very, very good question. From our data, we see that about only 27% of persons really report, abuse, because when you report abuse, it's not in the victim's interest. There's a lot of that. The burden is always on the victim to prove that she or he has been assaulted, and this is a challenge we face. So as researchers, we are asking the authorities to establish data. I mean, because that's how we know these things exist, by conducting the research and establishing their data. For example, Jamaica has one of the highest incident of prostate cancer. However, Jamaican, they allow men to test and produce data. In Grenada here, there is no way for us to measure the level of sexual abuse because everything is hidden. And what we want to do as researchers, we want to invite the authorities, invite the communities to come out on programs like these and testify, so that you can be heard. And this is our goal: is conducting these information is to be heard. So in the Caribbean, we know that the largest crime, the most of crime, is what is called drugs. So drugs trafficking is one of, by far, the largest criminal activities. However, violence against women is within the top five. We have done some work for a client. We analyzed 198 million data sets between 2014 to 2024, and from that, almost 20 million incidences of sexual violence against women, that have been in the Caribbean within the last 10 years. So it's something that is very, very, very prominent. So, for example, in terms of classification, so let's say look at the different types of sexual violence and criminal activities. We know on the bottom end you have what is called pedophilias. Okay, pedophilias are persons who have a sexual likeness to children under the age of 13. So they can be groomed sexually from as early as 3, 2, 3, 4, 5 until the age of 13. So they are groomed, they are conditioned. Okay, then after the pedophilias, you have a set of or persons called hemophilias, and for those who want to know, hemophilias, as I'll spell it, is called is Hebephilia, hemophilias, are men who have a certain a certain preference for women between 11 and 14. And then you have now on the upper end ehemophilias, Ephemophila. That's a people, that's men who have this tendency for having sexual interest in women between 15 and the age of 19. So you see these men have a strong attractions to school-age children, young girls going to school, and we found that there are certain type of sexual offenders. There are patterns. So my job as a
So that was
researcher.
my next question. Did your survey show patterns? For example, are perpetrators typically strangers, partners, or family members?
Yes, good. Well, we have to be aware. So most perpetrators are family members, people who are known to the subject. Okay, and about 37% of all, 39% of all the cases occur people who know each other. We also have to look at, for example, when our research was conducted, we conduct our research based on something called the ISCO codes, the International Classification of Occupation. So we found that some of the main perpetrators are persons who what is called elementary workers, the farmers. Okay, we have bus drivers, bus conductors, taxi drivers. Okay, fishermen, boat operators, and all of that. So we know who are the people that commit the crime, but there is no data to properly label them and properly identify them. And this is what we are trying to get at researchers, to let the public be aware that these things are happening and how to solve them. And we don't have a proper way of solving or preventing these cases because there is no data to back it up.
Now, based on your findings, do you believe that our current legal penalties in Grenada are strong enough to deter repeat offenders?
Well, of course not, because if it was strong enough, we would have less. In some of the likes, you get like maximum 30 years for sexual offense. There's maybe a 0.00 chance of somebody getting the maximum. So as I said, the burden is on the victims. People still, because as I said, it's a male-dominated society. Is men against women. The society, the laws, in most cases, protect the men over women. So you see that men get very little sentences. I interviewed a case where I interviewed a police officer, and he was a hemophilia. He impregnated 16 women under the age of 15 years, and just maybe a couple of years in jail. Okay, so, nothing big. I think on good behavior, get out in 3.5 years. I mean, we will call it's obscene, but that's a system, and that's why we have to be strong enough to change the laws. We need judge alone trials, all of these things. Jamaica has a lot.
So what sort of reforms did your data suggest are urgently needed?
Well, things like that. For example, an effective database, because we need what is called sex offenders registry. Okay. This is something that is in Canada. We live in Canada. If a sexual offender comes in my neighborhood, everybody knows. Okay? It's like, come on. But in some of the Caribbean, the laws are archaic, so we have to learn to change the laws. I'm not a lawyer, obviously. I may not know enough about the laws, but I'm a researcher, and we know we make our decision based on data and based on patterns and what we know, what we want to see, that the laws should be better in order to protect women, because violence against women is seen as a form of entertainment. Okay.
So, Party, you mentioned this when we spoke via the phone, and you mentioned it when we commenced this program, and you mentioned it again. And I want us to get a deeper understanding of this whole entertainment factor, based on your research. How this entertainment factor? Explain this to us.
Right. So when I
And
say sexual violence against women is a form of entertainment, so remember that men, come to the watering hole. We had a few pilots, focus groups. We interviewed the men who had experience with having multiple women. Maybe three or four of them may use a woman. Okay, will have sexual relationship, and they count scores. Okay, how she sounds when they hit her, how she go, how she, the reaction that they make, the pain she the sound and frequency of her pain, and they exchange notes, sit down, laugh about it, see nothing wrong with it. And men also support men in that in abusing women. And this is what, as I said, more information, more programs like this, more exposure should be there, so that we know that is right. Men still do not see women as equal. Men see women as properties, and it goes on still in our law. In fact, up to 2005, rape was not considered a crime in certain Caribbean countries.
Not considered. Well, apparently it's not considered a crime here either, because if you're having 30 years as the maximum and has ever gotten the maximum based on the questions I've asked, nobody can't seem to answer if a perpetrator has ever received a 30-year sentence plus or a life sentence plus for rape and defilement of a female, etc. And nobody seems to have the answers for it. So it shows that we don't take it seriously.
Yes.
And it's not, and that's why I keep saying that we need to be more proactive. We
Yes.
need to speak up more. We need to let the lawmakers, we need to lobby, we need to have the more attention on this. And then you see people saying, oh, well, it's going to be a 2-day talk, so I'm not saying anything. And that boils my blood, because we keep looking for the same set of people to do the talking. I can't come and talk here every single day. I need support. I need more people to put their hands up and say, hey, like you did, can I come on the program and speak about, what my data findings are? I need more people, instead of saying, well, they're going to talk about it for 2 days. Okay, if you've seen a set has stopped, now you pick up the mantle and continue continue the conversation, continue the discourse. But when people keep saying, oh, well, it's going to be talk for 2 days and then we stop.
Right.
If we have 100 and how many plus people in Grenada, and if everybody decides one day of the week, I'm going to have a conversation on this, I'm going to post this, I'm going to put it in my stories, I'm going to do a video, I'm going to say something, don't you think the message will get across further? But what we do, we sit and wait and look and see who's saying anything, who's not saying, and then you're just sitting back. And when it stops, oh, I'll just stop talk.
Right.
But we have to get to a place where we understand the seriousness of rape, and we have a serious rape and sexual offense culture in Grenada.
Right.
Put it like it, lump it. It is the truth. It is the reality. In the space of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 5 days, and I've had over 30 women hands it up in my inbox saying, listen, I do not want to respond under your post. I don't want to be put out in the public, but this is my story. This is what happened to me. I was molested from the age of 12, 13, 14, 15, even grown women, sexually molested by partners, ex-partners, strangers. And we are still sitting back saying, it's talk for 2 days. Right. And the thing is, people don't speak unless it directly hits home. A member of your family or a friend or somebody you know. People tend to just disengage when it's not related to them. Oh, I express my sympathy, sorry, and then you move on.
Right.
If we stop moving on collectively and everybody together continue to put our voices, continue to raise our voices, then there will be changes.
Right. And this is what we as researchers, this is what we are trying to do. And what we do is against the current, because we get lots of pushback trying to use science and data to make the decisions, and people feel that we are intruding on the privacy. We asking people, have you? So we in our database we ask people 200 questions. Okay, have you ever been raped? What is the first time you had sex? Whatever, and all these type of indicators based on the UN SDG goals. And people call us and say, why are you asking? This is offensive. But it's not offensive. It's just data we collect, and so as I said, in Grenada, imagine incest. We have the highest rates of incest. The highest. Imagine that as a country with 120 something, thousand population, we have the highest rates of incest of any country in the OASIS and the Caribbean. We are 92% of all rape cases in the Caribbean concentrated in 6 countries, and Grenada is one of that. And imagine that only 27% of rape cases are brought to the authorities. Because why? When you bring it, nobody will do anything. Most likely, people will, and people will.
Yes, what I'm hearing as I ask a number of these women, have you reported it? And a lot of what you hear is, well, they say they don't have any evidence. Exactly. Like, how do you? It is your responsibility to find the evidence. I made a report. It is your responsibility to investigate now and bring this person to justice. But if you're sitting there telling me, oh, well, there was no evidence, so that's why I can't say anything, I can't do anything, make it make sense.
Right. And so and this is why, for example,
someone is raped, sexual act.
Okay. I tell you a story, okay? This is very, very, very interesting. And this is why what we've seen from what you saw, we look at what is called the predatory aspect of crime. We are not, don't get me, don't come against me in that. We're not mainly interested in the victims. Yes, we're interested in the victims, but what we're looking at is the profile of the predators. Who are the predators? What the predators are thinking. And from our research, what we found is that many of the crime or many of the investigation are, the burden is on the police. Okay, the police have to investigate. Yep. But remember that most police, from our research, do not have the skills to properly investigate crime. Yes, Grenada has a very good police force, and we have a very good, in terms of murder, we have over 90-something% success rate in murders. But apart from that, other type of crime, we don't have the resources to investigate crime. And that is why, for example, proper research is needed. You need to work together with social researchers. There are very good researchers in Grenada. Dr. Wendy Crawford, many people there are great researchers in Grenada. You could reach out to them, and we need public discussions. So, for example, we do a lot of work in the human trafficking field, and what some of the countries do in the Caribbean is that if they arrest someone for drugs, instead of arresting them, what they will do is to give us a call. So we could interview them and find out if they are a mule, okay, if they are a dead cow, okay, or if they're just a normal prisoner. So a mule is someone who knowingly travel with drugs. And a dead cow is someone who unknowingly has drugs on them. So that dead cow could be maybe somebody who is trafficked. They give you a bag, they give you a coat, they give you a cake, they give you a suitcase to travel from A to B, and that is laced with drugs. So in order for us to understand that, that's why where research comes in. And the Grenadian police force or the authorities should work in tandem with the universities and other researchers to help them solve the crime of incest and violence against women in Grenada. And for the and we have not done that. We see that more and more it will get worse. Okay, in because we have not yet found the root cause to solve drugs. I'm sorry, to solve violence against women in the Caribbean, because we are not
serious. Have we made a serious enough attempt to do that? Have we made moves towards that? I saw
no,
someone made a
no.
very
It is
important
not.
point in
Yeah,
terms
it's not politically. It's not.
Oh.
Well, they believe that we don't have the resources. Maybe
Someone and I need to ask that of my minister. Someone here is saying a specialist unit to manage sexual crimes is needed.
yes,
Something solely focused on sexual crimes, because, like I said yesterday, when you go to court, when you have the assizes, the list of sexual offenses overrides every other offense.
yes,
So if you have 100 cases, you probably have 80 incidents to do with sexual offenses and violence, etc. So
well,
if that is
yes, but
not enough to show that we have a problem, I don't know what
yes,
is. How
but
many more women have to die? How many
what
more
we
young sisters we have to lose?
right. So what we want to say that with all respect to the Grenada police force, they have done a good job. Okay, so for example, just look at some of the data. So rape cases per 100,000 people, Grenada top the list. We are in the Caribbean, so we have 101.6 incidents of rape per 100,000. That's 220. That compared to St. Kitts, 74, Bahamas. Okay, so it is, we are way up there. But we want to also say that the Grenada Police Force, from the data, when you look at on the Grenada Police Force website, they said that there has been a 39% drop in sexual offenses in 2025 compared to previous period, and a 21% reduction in sexual offenses as part of a broader trend, and that has been a 2-decade decline. So the first time in 2 decades we had such a decline. So we know that sexual offenses in the Grenada is going down, but it is still higher than most other places in the Caribbean. And this is alarming because we're a small country. We are a country that is based on tourism, and that can affect our Gini coefficient, our Gini coefficient in terms of our ability to manage crime. It could affect if a young 22-year-old American girl gets raped or whatever, it could affect our tourism product. So it is a very serious offense. So countries like the British Overseas Territories take these things very seriously, and we have to also in Grenada learn to take sexual violence against women more serious. We have to develop a database. We have to have forums, focus group. We have to have a victim registry where victims can come and display the story. Police have to take every case seriously. Okay, and from all indications, they're not doing that. So we have to make a change, or else it'll get worse.
Unfortunately, we are out of time, but there's a comment here I just wanted to read before we go. Thanks, Shelley says maybe some police officers, women included, should receive government scholarships to specialize in sexual criminology. Thanks so much, Shelley. So maybe that's a conversation we can also explore.
This is very good. I was reading a case, because sometimes I was reading the case there. I would not call names, of course. There were an incident where a police officer, high-ranking police officer, he and his wife were getting divorced, and I heard that 12 o'clock in the night he came, and while the wife was sleeping, came to paint the room. So all kind of these are violence again.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a
and it's a
lot.
lot. And these are just small cases. And we want to, what we're looking to do as researchers, to get a list of all these offenses and plot them and look for trends, and so that we can pick up persons who they have the propensity to commit these crimes. What we know for sure, one of the greatest indicators of violence against women, gang violence, is that children who are who indicate that they are hungry in school, in primary school. There were children with high A scores. So the authorities should collect data on those. Find out the children who are hungry. Have you been hungry? How many times per week you went to school without food, etc., etc. We found out that later on in life, these are some of the indicators. And lastly, we are developing program profiles now of a potential sexual offender.
So that is probably a next angle we can look at. We can
Yes,
definitely come back and we can look at that angle, because like I said, there's a whole lot of different angles we can look at. It's not just black and white. There's so many other colors and other variations in this fight against sexual violence against women, abuse, incest, etc. So I've got to run, but I want to say thank you so much, Mr. Pear, for again, reaching out and lending your voice. And I'm praying that more men will, do the same, to let us know we're not fighting this fight by ourselves, but you guys are down in the trenches with us, and you stand, you strongly stand against stuff like that. So thank you so much. And like I said, I'll touch base so we can continue the conversation. All right.
thank you
But
to the
thank
to
you
the
so
listening
very much.
audience. Thank
You're
you very
welcome.
much. Bye.
Thanks so much again, guys. We gotta go. We gotta run, but we'll be back tomorrow, and we definitely continue the conversation. Have another guest, so we will be on this. So, 2 days, no, we continue to have the conversations. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Thank you so much, Beacon Insurance, Land Store, St. Augustine Medical Service, and Western Union for making the room possible once again. And we shall check in for the final one tomorrow, God's will. All right. Have a great one, everybody. Thanks so much for checking in.